Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? That's right. It's July 20th, 2025, and this is the new edition of the Boxing Source Podcast. Yep, that's right. We are here live with this Boxing Talk. We got a lot of topics to go over here as we had a very busy weekend this weekend. Not much different than last weekend, the previous weekend, where you had the whole thing that was going on in Madison Square Garden with, of course, Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano there at Madison Square Garden. And then the next day, you had Ring 3, which had, of course, Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Shiraz. But this weekend, we had 3 fight cards on the same day. And, we're going to tackle each one of those fight cards here and the big topics there on these particular fight cards, because there's a lot to, decipher from each of these fight cards. You know what I mean? And, of course, with the main events that happened over in Wembley Stadium at the Star of Frisco, Texas, and at MGM Grand Garden Arena, that we have a lot to, kind of like go through with that. And, I have a number of thoughts in reference to each of the main events here. But, we have at the top of the docket, what happened at MGM Grand Garden Arena. You had the WBC welterweight title on the line. Mario Barrios was defending the WBC welterweight title against, as I say, Emmanuel Dappy John Pacquiao. That's right, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. And, of course, the whole story is Manny Pacquiao coming in there at 46 years old, being the International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, going for the WBC welterweight title. And Mario Barrios, of course, being the WBC champion, had been elevated since you had, of course, Terrence Crawford, who was the undisputed champion at welterweight, give up all those belts to move up to 154 pounds. But then after, Barrios' wins over Yordenis Ugas and Fabian Maidana, then he was elevated to become the WBC welterweight champion. He had one defense of that welterweight title against Abel Ramos last November, and we all seen that it was a split draw. You had Ramos that was down in the second round. You had Mario Barrios down in the 6th round. And, the judges, they were like all over the place with those scores. So now he's going up against a 46-year-old in Manny Pacquiao, who had over 70 pro fights, but hadn't been active in the pro ranks since his loss to Yordenis Ugas 4 years ago. He lost to Yordenis Ugas by decision, and it was a, pretty wide decision, I would say. I felt like Yordenis Ugas definitely won that fight. And people thought that after that, you really didn't see much. You really weren't going to see much here from Manny Pacquiao. But here against Mario Barrios, we saw something. We saw something. I'll tell you that. We saw something. Okay. And the thing about it was that you seen a couple of things there from Manny Pacquiao that said, okay, he could, throw a few punches here and there, whatnot. And it ended up just being, real quick. The fight ended up being in a draw. Shout out to those in the live chat here early. See that one has already, shared their thoughts and said it was like they had it 7 rounds to 5 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. It was a draw, a majority draw. One judge had it in favor of Mario Barrios. 2 judges had it a draw. And thing about it is you could have it 7-5 either way. You have it 6 rounds to 6. But I just want to get right into it. And this, of course, stems from my expectation leading into this fight. There should have been no way that Mario Barrios should have had Manny Pacquiao be anywhere close to being competitive in that fight. Nowhere close. And if y'all watched it live and you've seen what was going on in between rounds, starting from round 10, and particularly in the corner of Mario Barrios, you did have Coach Bob Santos there in his corner as the head trainer. And he distinctly told Mario Barrios that you got to get these last 3 rounds in order to get this fight. Hey, props to Bob Santos on that part. he knew what was the deal, and Mario Barrios had to win those 3 rounds in order for the fight to be a majority draw, right? So what does that mean? That means through 9 rounds, right, that 2 judges had it 6-3 in favor of Manny Pacquiao, and 1 judge had it 5-4 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. And Mario Barrios won those 3 rounds, and that ended up getting him at least that 115, 113 score, and then the 2 114, 114s. But if you had this expectation, you're the one coming in there, 30 years old, the WBC champion, 16 years younger than Manny Pacquiao. You have this expectation that you're supposed to, go, through Manny Pacquiao, right? Or at least for me, I said that it was going to be Mario Barrios getting a TKO win. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it shouldn't have been, that it shouldn't have been that difficult. I'm sorry, y'all. It shouldn't have been that difficult. Now, I'm trying to pull up some stats here for this particular bout. All right. But I wanted to pull up the scorecard, for this particular bout. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to do here. You're live on the YouTube here on the replay. Of course, you ain't going to see it on the audio replay, but I'm going to see if I could pull up these scorecards, right? And you'll see, man, it took Mario Barrios to win those last 3 rounds in order for him to, at the very least, get this thing to be a majority draw. That is absolutely crazy. All right, so here we go, right? So I'm going to see if I can get this joint pulled up right here. And if y'all see it, I'm going to see if I could, maximize it, because it might be a little bit small on the view screen. So I'm going to see if I could do it like 200 or something like that, 200%. All right. And we got, I got in the queue here early to jump on in and talk about this particular fight here, give analysis on it. Here, actually, I'll bring them on right now. Y'all know them, great panelists here on the Boxing Source podcast. Has been, covering the sport, or giving his analysis on the sport here, for a long time. Ben, of course, been with this movement here since we've had the first, season like 10 years ago, man, or whatever it is, man. It's my guy, the boxing academic here right now, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, what's going on, JR? Just looking forward to talk boxing.
Word. So yeah, so I was talking about just real quick with the scorecards and the decision of that majority decision as a draw between Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. And I mentioned that Mario Barrios had to win the last 3 rounds on the scorecards in order for it to be a majority draw. And I got this thing on the screen here, and it shows the scorecards. And if y'all could see what's going down, on the scorecards, if you go to the 9th round, you see that on 2 of those scorecards, it has it 87-84 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. And a multitude, 2 of those judges had 5 consecutive rounds in favor of Manny Pacquiao for this thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're supposed to be the WBC welterweight champion. You're supposed to be 16 years younger than your opponent. And yet that person was able to win 5 consecutive rounds against you. That's one thing. But here's the other joint. For y'all that watch the fight. If y'all saw the last couple rounds, especially the last round from Mario Barrios, that was supposed to be what Mario Barrios should have did from round 1. And if he did that joint from round 1, this fight wouldn't have even been close. It wouldn't have been close. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, how in the world could Mario Barrios allow this to happen? Okay. And I mean, props to, Manny Pacquiao. He was able to get through, the 12 rounds and everything like that. But oh man, I can't believe it. what's your initial thoughts about this Fight Boxing Academic? And then I'm going to see if I can get another guest here and jump on in the show.
So when I was watching the fight, I was not surprised per se, because when you look at Barrios's temperament, he kind of reminds me of, and I couldn't help but thinking this. I was thinking this on Matt's show, but it seemed like everybody got to talking, and then he didn't add me in, and I got sleepy, so I had to leave because he didn't add me in. But I'm gonna tell him that when he come on. But so it reminds me when I'm playing basketball and you see a guy come on the court, he got all the measurables, got pause when I say this, but got an athletic body. I was gonna say got a great body, but got an athletic body. You know what I'm saying? Can jump, got everything he need in terms of all the tools and stuff. But then when he get on the court, whoever said this last night, he ain't no killer. He's just like a kind of like a passive aggressive playing motherfucker, you know? And you know, you play with these guys and you pick them because they athletically are what they need to be, but they don't add a lot to the game because they don't have that Mamba mentality. And so I'm relating that to Barrios and saying, to me, with the temperament that I've kind of seen him have, he puts me in the mind of that. You know, the guy got, you know, you can tell he work out, you know what I'm saying? He's in shape. When he throw the punches and commit to them, they're decent punches. You know, he been in the ring with a number of guys, came short, you know, a few times, whatever. But then when you get in the ring with a guy and the way that you beat them is by sort of pressing the issue, you kind of just go along to get along. You don't like try to put it into the next gear. You just kind of dance at the speed that the person want to dance at. You don't go faster. You don't do whatever. And so I don't know. I just like
almost like cruise control.
It's almost like cruise control. You let the older man set the pace, and it's only a few times where you sort of boost the pace, and you let an old man essentially outwork you as best as he probably could at this age.
At the age, though.
Manny did a lot of stuff wrong, enough stuff wrong to where you could have taken advantage of. I'm not saying Manny easy to deal with, you know, because the dude a champion, he gonna always be a champion. Even as an old guy, he gonna still behave as a champion. But it's a few times where Manny left himself open doing things that with the right wrong person would get him in trouble. And he just let him get away with it. Just let him get away with it. Didn't press the issue, didn't do whatever. Barrios reminds me of the person who got all the tools, but he won't use them. He got a bag full of tools, but he won't use them. And everybody, like, it kind of kills me in all of these championship fights yesterday. Nobody went to the body. You fighting an old man and you don't go to his body. In the other fight, he fighting a guy who the 4 times he hit him in the body, he visibly got a response. Even with Manny Pacquiao, the 4 times he hit Manny Pacquiao in the body, he got a visible response. And then he let Manny tell him, hey, don't do that no more. Don't do that no more. And then he stopped doing it. Like, are you like, that's, I don't know, man. Let me let somebody else come back in.
Word. So we about to get our guy in here as another guest, of course. He is the host there of Brunch Boxing. It was doing work out there via satellite for the fight week, man. It's my guy Matt from Brunch Boxing. What's good with you, Matt?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? And to the boxing academic, if you were trying to get into the show last night, I sincerely apologize. I did not see you.
Nah, you hurt my feelings, man. I was like, damn.
I'm just letting you know, I did not see you.
I knew you got big time.
It's up to you. I'm letting you know I did not see you.
What's the second thing you said after that?
I said whether or not you want to believe me or not, I'm just letting you know I did not see you, and I apologize.
Yeah, it's no problem. Can I just talk about you for a second? I mean,
Sure. I mean, have
okay.
at it, my brother. Have at it.
I knew you got big time, but damn, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit.
Honestly, it was very chaotic. There were a lot of people in the queue. I must have missed you. I apologize. We are one of the hottest shows in all of boxing, so it happens. I
That's true.
apologize.
That's true. Don't forget the small people as you advance. That's all I'm saying. I'm the small people. Don't forget me.
Yeah, man.
I was with you when you were shooting in the gym, man. I want you to remember that. I know you got a lot of new friends, but I was with you when you were shooting in the gym.
That's a fact.
I was passing you the ball, man. I was one of the motherfuckers on the goal passing you the ball.
Hey, man, he was Gary Payton, man. Come on, man. You gotta show love to Gary Payton. You know what I mean?
Now, but I'm done. Pacquiao, because you keep saying Barrios didn't do this, Barrios didn't do that. Maybe he couldn't do it. You ever thought of that?
I agree with you.
How many times are we gonna say if Adrian Broner lets his hands go? The motherfucker don't let his hands go. Sometimes guys are just who they are. And maybe Mario Barrios is a guy that only knows how to fight one way. Or maybe he needs to look at his corner. But what we do know is that from the outset, he let Manny Pacquiao dictate the pace. Manny Pacquiao dictated the pace throughout the fight. And I thought Manny Pacquiao won the fight.
Now, I talked about this just a few minutes ago before you joined on. And I saw the effort from Mario Barrios at the beginning of the 12th round. And in that, he showed that he was, faster and that his punches were like having Manny Pacquiao snap back. And I'm like, wait a minute, where was this in like rounds 1, 2, and 3? If he did this in rounds 1, 2, and 3, then the fight wouldn't have been this close. But as you were bringing up, it's like the question then remains: is Mario Barrios capable of doing that on a consistent basis through the course of 12 rounds?
I don't agree with you. When you say that if he did this rounds 1, 2, and 3 from the beginning, he would have won the fight, or would have been a different fight. He would have won by a wide margin. I don't agree with that. Mario Barrios is a notorious late fader. So maybe he couldn't do it rounds 1, 2, and 3 because he thought that Pacquiao would get tired just by virtue of being old. So he wanted to pace himself to have some stuff to finish Pacquiao later. The problem is Pacquiao didn't get really that tired. That was his problem. I just don't think that he could have did that. If he would have started it sooner, Pacquiao probably would have stopped his ass in the middle rounds or late.
Wow. So they had the thing here with the as they say the punch stats, and of course Boxing Academic really doesn't go much behind punch stats and stuff like that. But they had Mario Barrios throwing more at 658 total punches to 577 for Manny Pacquiao, and landing 120 punches for Barrios and 101 for Pacquiao. It's more that I would say you said like late, he's known for being a fade, like fades late, right? But yet his punch activity increased in the second half of the fight in comparison to the first half, man. It was
because he ain't throw shit in the first half because he was trying to pace himself against the old man, thinking the old man would get tired. I don't know what the strategy was. And I like Bob Santos, but that man, listen.
Hey, Matt. I'll tell you this. I got a phone call from somebody that's been in the boxing game for a good while. And they said something about, Mario Barrios, and he said that Barrios kind of, as I say in this topic or in the question, it said that Barrios bailed out Manny Pacquiao in that fight. It said he bailed him out because he's like, there's no way, absolutely no way that Barrios should have been able to have Manny Pacquiao win all those rounds like that. No way. But I mean, hey, we got to see what happens with that, man. Real quick with the chat, live shout out to the live chat here in the building. Also, If you like the content, hit the like button. Secret Dance Move says, as far as like potential matchups, Manny Pacquiao versus Rolly Romero would be a good fight for Manny. I still think that Rolly is average despite beating Ryan Garcia. Oh man. And Smitty answers the question there. He said that Barrios didn't bail out Manny Pacquiao. He's just garbage.
He complacent as fuck. That's what he is.
Hey,
complacent.
That's the
He's
thing.
content.
He doesn't, as you were talking
He's
about.
Content.
Yeah, content. There you go. Because we said it. He don't ever really like go to a second gear. He doesn't. You know, he's there at a certain pace, at a certain speed. Doesn't go any faster, like you said. And to be honest, don't go any slower or whatever. You know what I mean? It's almost like he's a cruise control, as I mentioned earlier. Like you have these wins over your Dennis Ugas or, you know, a Fabian Maidana, but like he's not, you know, blowing away these guys or just making it seem like it's, you know, like a wide decision win or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he's worlds better than these guys. It's just that he's able to do enough to win those rounds. So even though he could win in the scorecards by like 8 rounds to 4 or 9 rounds to 3, it's just that he's doing a little bit more to win a majority of those rounds. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's a clear-cut win in the round all the time. It's just that, hey, okay, he's just doing enough. Like he landed, like say for example, 10 punches while the opponent landed 6 in that round or something. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how it is there. But with this decision being a majority draw, you don't have a new champion, so Manny ain't a new champ. Mario Barrios keeps his belt. They were talking about potentially having a rematch. Okay, that's an option for Manny Pacquiao. We talk about another one there, as Secret Dance Move said, Manny Pacquiao versus Rolly Romero. That's another option. Now, if Manny Pacquiao won and he was a WBC champ, and they would have made this like a transitional belt thing, then we could have potentially had either Manny Pacquiao versus Gervonta Tank Davis, or Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I'm like, oh my God, do we really need to see this fight again? Okay, a lot of people have been disappointed. Were disappointed with what happened 10 years ago. Okay, all that attention, all that money behind the event, and Floyd Mayweather just outpointed them, outboxed Manny Pacquiao, and just nullified what Manny Pacquiao could do. And people were saying like after that they didn't want to see much of either one of those guys, or at least not have those two in the ring again. Now people are starting to resurrect Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather in a fight, and I'm like, are we serious? Y'all think that they're going to put so much money behind a rematch between these two, especially after a draw that Manny Pacquiao had here against Mario Barrios? And I don't know, man.
The answer is yes.
The answer is resoundingly yes.
Is a 3 million pay-per-view buy fight. Argue with yourself.
The answer is resoundingly yes. Manny Pacquiao got how many fights? Like Manny Pacquiao is probably fight per fight. Like, how many times do you want to keep fighting Pacquiao? Get the Mayweather fight, get as much money as you can. Mayweather is a step slower, so the fight might be a bit more exciting. Pacquiao step slower, but I mean that to me is the only realistic fight for them to make a bunch of money, and Manny Pacquiao can sit his butt down. Any other fight, it doesn't make sense. Why would he fight Rolly? Like, what sense does that make? Why would he fight Gervonta? What sense would that make? Like, Mayweather is the only real answer to me. Get him out of retirement, talk some crap, make a bunch of money, have him in the pay-per-view buys that Matt just said, and be happy. Sit down, make some money, Make some money, man. Make some money and get out of boxing.
Enough
There's
money
another
left.
guy that makes sense that you didn't mention. Errol Spence Jr.
The fight that we were supposed to have 4 years ago.
Yep.
I mean, my thing is, where's Errol Spence Jr. going to be at? Like, is he going to be at 154? Y'all think that Manny Pacquiao will fight Errol Spence Jr. around 150 or 152 pounds or something like that?
Yep.
I don't even know like where Errol Spence Jr. is at this particular point as far as like his weight. So I don't if they make a phone call to Errol Spence and say, hey, we got this potential fight between you and Manny Pacquiao, you know, the one that you were supposed to have 4 years ago. Are you still up for it? And this is the amount of money that we got. Man, goodness, man, I don't know, man. He said, yeah, man, I prefer, Errol Spence Jr. to come back at 160. Yeah, me too, man. Like, come on. Why can't we have, Errol Spence Jr. Have a fight there at 160 pounds? And given the middleweight division right now, shoot, he could have 1 or 2 fights and probably compete for a world title at 160 right now. Like,
I bet you Turkey would put that fight on Mayweather.
Man, fuck Turkey.
Yeah, we ain't messing with Turkey, man. After what he said about Tim Tszyu, which I'll get to here in a little bit, since Tim Tszyu was involved in that co-feature bout. But
I'm not in no internet beefs, so I just want to see the best fight, because any other EJ might make sense because we don't know which version of Errol Spence we're gonna get, but Mayweather to me seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, as the saying goes by somebody that is affiliated in a sense with PBC, they do what they do, we do what we do. And hey, as you see here with this particular event at MGM Grand Garden Arena, over 13,000 fans in there for that particular fight card. And it makes their event look like, top level, top shelf, top notch. They know how to handle, events and the fighters and the media and that type of stuff. They don't, have it to be like all like a mess or whatever it is, and have scheduling issues and all that type of stuff. They don't do that when it comes to, Heyman Boxing or, TGB Promotions, or, as they say, like Swanson Communications or whatever, who usually handles those events for, as they say, PBC events. So having someone like Turkey or Riyadh Season, nah, that ain't gonna quite work. All right. Now, talk about Manny versus Floyd, Manny versus Tank, Manny versus Errol Spence, and what was it also? Manny versus Rolly Romero, Rolly. But Mario Barrios is still the WBC welterweight champion. Okay, what could be next for Mario Barrios if there's something for this year, and if not this year, then what could be out for him next year?
I think PBC should find a way to get their hands on Teofimo Lopez and have Lopez move up and take that belt off of him.
What if
somebody got to take the belt off of him? Somebody. Say we have something with Manny Pacquiao in a super fight against either Tank or Floyd Mayweather. Then why not have Mario Barrios in there with Rolly Romero? How about that?
I like that. That's a good fight.
I say why not?
It is, but like, to me, what you just named,
by the way, Rolly would kick his ass.
Rolly would probably win, but to me, even in a win, this would be a transitional period for this belt.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay,
You don't
why not?
respect Rolly.
I mean, I appreciate that Rolly fights above himself in the biggest fights, most of them. But okay, he beats Barrios, and then who challenges him? Who wants the belt and then beats him? Insert name.
Maybe Brian Norman Jr.
Okay, so you're proving my point in that it very likely going to be a transitional belt. Okay, the belt needs to move from Barrios, but with it going to Rolly, it's just going to be there for just a slightly hot minute, and then it's going to transition, which is probably fine.
That's the thing. Shout out to Ray Davis here. He said something in reference to Errol Spence. He said that Errol should fight Erickson Lubin, and Manny would match up good with the Ryan Garcia or Conor Benn.
Erickson Lubin's fighting Bakum Zalev and it's mandatory. We could let that go.
Yeah, they finally are gonna, get both of those guys the money to step in the ring so that Bakum Zalev can defend that IBF super welterweight title there against Erickson Lubin. All right, so we have those potential matchups out there, but yeah, that it was a good atmosphere for that main event. I've said that MGM Grand Garden Arena is like one of the best arenas there for boxing, in the world, so to speak. So, having that, as I said, there's no bad seat anywhere in the MGM Grand Garden Arena. So you should get like a good view of, what's going down in there. So I think that is
there was one bad seat yesterday that was in Mario Barrios' corner.
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna follow up, man. I need to know what went down in that corner, so you know who I'm gonna talk to in reference to that.
Yes,
so,
I need to know what the fuck was the strategy.
He said I need answers. Shout out Ray Davis. He says Barrios may lose to Rolly, but I think Rolly will get outboxed. Rolly needs a KO. And Secret Dance Move says that Rolly isn't active enough to beat Pacquiao. He's average.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna lie. Rolly would stretch Pacquiao. We gotta stop.
Hey, listen, Rolly. Hey, you know what though? I wouldn't mind that fight just because that Rolly knows how to sell a fight. That's something that I know for a fact. He knows how to sell a fight. Oh man, but yeah, so that's what went down there, at least in the main event. It was a draw, majority draw. Manny Pacquiao was this close to winning the WBC welterweight championship. Unbelievable. All right.
But this was probably the best outcome.
Or the best scenario.
Best scenario, because Manny wouldn't have been good. Like, sure, you could make a fight where somebody comes and quotation mark makes a name off of Manny, but Manny winning wouldn't have been good. Barrios beating Manny, it's like Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson. Yeah, either case wouldn't have been good. So I think the draw was probably the best outcome.
Well, according to Matt, he knows what he feels like, what's best for boxing. There's a segment on, Brunch Boxing, every week, and it's when they have key fights that are happening, what would be best for boxing? And he said, without a doubt, what would have been best for boxing is for Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao to get the win over Mario Barrios.
For what to happen later?
Oh man,
Matt,
we talked about
for what to happen later,
but everybody would have jumped at the chance to see if they could fight Manny Pacquiao for the WBC title, and they would have, superseded Mario Barrios. Like they would have said, screw your rematch clause or whatever it is. We got this on store. We got a Tank Davis fight, or a Floyd Mayweather Jr. fight, or whatever it is to, that would generate much more money than a rematch between Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. So that was the thing on that.
Do we really want to see Manny Pacquiao get knocked out by a smaller dude?
Nigga, yes.
Why though? Why?
Oh shit!
Why?
to put him over.
Oh god!
To send him on his way out, huh? Okay.
Oh man!
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Come on. Oh, yo. I mean, but the thing about it is like you could still have the event without, having the world title or whatever it is. That's why I said, even with this result being a majority draw, you could still, try to sell the fight between a Tank Davis and a Manny Pacquiao or something like that. You know what I mean? And people will still be interested. So, oh goodness, man. All right. I'll get to the co-feature bout. Okay. He had a rematch there between Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu, this time for the WBC Super Welterweight title. Sebastian Fundora was the WBC and WBO Super Welterweight champion, but chose to have this rematch here with Tim Tszyu, more money. So, more money. Xander Zayas is Xander Zayas. That fight will still be there. Hopefully he gets this win on Saturday and gets that WBO belt, and then they could renegotiate and something like that. You know what I mean? But Sebastian Fundora against Tim Tszyu. Of course, everyone knows about the rematch from last year. Absolute bloodbath that Sebastian Fundora won by decision. Here in his second bout, man, Tim Tszyu got he got cooked. Yeah, he gave, as they say, the old college try, whatever it is. But man, he just couldn't really properly defend the jab from Sebastian Fundora. And I was telling people, I was like, look, once Sebastian Fundora got that win over Tim Tszyu initially, and then was waiting to see if he was going to get a bout with Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, he was like, you know what? All right, I'll have this defense of the titles against Cordell Booker. And when I seen him against Cordell Booker, I saw him actually fight like he's 6'6" with that reach that he has. And for Tim Tszyu, I'm sorry, y'all, but I ain't really been sold on Tim Tszyu there at the 154-pound division like that. I haven't. Like the bouts that he's had in a couple of occasions, I'm like, nah. He doesn't really have that it factor to be a serious threat at the top of the 154-pound division. And he had his bout with Ocampo or Brian Mendoza, actually Brian Mendoza, to be honest with you, or like sometime back where he was competing around like 2019, 2020, and I'm like, nah, I just don't see it. When he had his fight against Terrell Gausha, he was down early in that fight. Fast forward to now in this rematch, he tries to go punch for punch with Sebastian Fundora, and he gets clocked and goes down in round one. And when I seen him go down in round one, I'm like, oh nope, this ain't gonna be that good. This ain't gonna be that good. And so he just couldn't figure out how to get away from the jab and get within range. And he was just swinging just to swing. He didn't like really try to, duck, dip, dodge, and then slip and then counter to get to the inside. And once, Fundora saw that, he's like, nah, you know what? All I got to do is just stay out of range and just pick them apart. And then once I got him, tired enough, oh yeah, I'm a work on the inside. I'm gonna throw the hooks. I'm gonna throw them uppercuts. Like before the end of that 7th round, he threw like about 3 or 4 uppercuts before the end of that round. And Tim Tszyu went to his corner, and that was it, man. That was it. It was over. It was a wrap. It was done. See you. Goodbye. Okay. TKO win for Sebastian Fundora, and for Tim Tszyu. You had the opportunity to become a world champion here, and just didn't work out there for you, boy. You had that fight with Keith Thurman that was, out there, but hey, you want to go for a world title? Hey, that's cool. But I just felt like as long as Fundora is able to fight like he actually is 6'6", he's always going to be an issue there for Tim Tszyu. And Tim Tszyu basically admitted it after the fight. So it's like, Nah, man, he was just about barbecue chicken, man. So what champion on the live chat? He says Fundora needs to see Jesus Ramos ASAP and
No, no,
that fight.
no, no. Yo, listen, I'm really tired of you small time thinkers. The fight for Sebastian Fundora, Houston, Texas, November. Sebastian Fundora versus Jermell Charlo. Book it.
Book it. Book it. The thing, I mean, you now have a guy in Sebastian Fundora that, you know, has done very well in the super welterweight division. Okay. He only has that one loss to Brian Mendoza. And if y'all have been following the channel, you know about what the Boxing Academic said in reference to that knockdown that happened with Sebastian Fundora, and that Fundora, you know, made a decision, a business decision, if he wanted to get up. But now, you know, he's kind of recovered from all that. And ever since then, you know, he's, you know, done the work, got the win, the initial win against Tim Tszyu, had that TKO against Cordell Booker, and now has to stop his win over Tim Tszyu. And I say, you know what? Get him back in the ring. He's a guy that's willing to get in there and fight. You know, there's a saying about, you know, fighters, right? And that you could have boxers, you could have brawlers, and then you could have, as they say, motherfuckers who could fight or who wants to fight. And don't let the look fool you, okay? But Sebastian Fundora wants to get in there and he could fight. You could see it. He could fight. He don't care. He'll get in the mix. He even said that in the press conference. He's like, listen, if we want to get in there and get, you know, grimy. Well, he didn't necessarily say grimy, of course. He don't even know about what that term is. At least I don't think he does. But he said he's willing to get in there and he's willing to fight. You know what I mean? So when you have somebody like that going in the ring, stepping in the ring against any type of opponent, then you know that he's there to, you know, he's willing to go to war. And he's been in multiple wars, and we've seen it. We've seen it against Tim Tszyu. We've seen it against Erickson Lubin. You know what I mean? So, hey, why not, you know, go get behind someone like a Sebastian Fundora? Yes, he's going to Harvard on an engineering program, like what? You know what I mean? So, hey, why not back Sebastian Fundora in a potential fight against Jermell Charlo in Houston before the end of the year? Hey, why not? Academic, hey man, what did you think about the fight, Academic?
So I'm gonna speak on Tim Tszyu.
All right.
I think Tim Tszyu is a relatively smart man. Tim Tszyu, to me, what happened yesterday, I don't look at it. Okay, if you break it down to its essence, he did a no mas. However, his no mas feels a bit different because we all could see the writing on the wall. Tim Tszyu had essentially blew his wide. He gave what he had. Sebastian Fundora gave him opportunities to hit him. He hit him with his best shot 2-3 times, and Fundora kept coming. Didn't even affect Fundora. And if it did, Fundora didn't show it. And, you know, like you said, after he hit him with them 3 uppercuts, maybe 4, Tszyu got to the corner, and he was like, what round is this? I couldn't tell you what round it was, but all I know is Tszyu heard that number and was like, I got 6 more rounds of this. It is in my best interest to not continue doing this. Tszyu ain't stupid. And to me, like, I'm not mad at that because he gave us everything he could while he could give it. Sure, okay, it'd be nice if he'd went off on his shield, but
he did. He wobbled his ass back to the corner.
And he wobbled to the corner. So to me, he had given enough. And him stopping, like, neurologically was probably in his best. It was the best decision he could make to where he could continue fighting. Because had he continued that fight, maybe it would have ended the next round. Maybe it would have ended the round after that. But it wouldn't have ended well. Like he would have left even worse than what he probably is now. He's not the same fighter in terms of being able to take punishment now.
Oh,
and we will see that as he goes into these next few fights that he goes into. But had he took more punishment in the fight yesterday, it would have been even worse. It would have been like his career would have been even shorter. So I'm not mad at him making the decision. And then they kept like kind of bringing up, we ex Zoo and Zoo quit. Like, okay, maybe that is what happened, but don't try to play the man like he name somebody who quit that. So I would say in the fight with the other guy with who you damn, I forgot his name. What's the tall guy?
Murtazaliev.
No, the one in this fight. I'm so sorry. I'm
Fundora.
So like when Fundora quit, that was like quitting. It's like different levels of quitting. Like the fight got beat out of Zoo yesterday. And at that point, when the fight beat out of you, what's the reason to continue fighting? He literally got the fight beat out of him. It's time to stop the fight. But with what's the name quit, he just quit.
Not sure if you remember this fight from last year, but there was a rematch between Rafael Espinoza and Robeisy Ramirez. And Robeisy Ramirez, even though it was like looking like he was competing over the course of 6 rounds, he like said, he actually did say like, no more. Like he actually quit. You know what I mean? So it's one thing, or yeah, like you got like a Nicholas Walters versus Lomachenko, yeah. But I talk about the Robeisy Ramirez because like it's like he basically it was a close fight, and then all of a sudden he's like, nah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, I didn't understand that. But here with Tim Tszyu, it's like he made almost like a business decision of sorts. And as I was mentioning there, from that first round knockdown, I just said his punch resistance was just not there. And we talk about those fights in the heavyweight division, and when a fighter gets knocked down or knocked out in the heavyweight division, like their punch resistance is never the same. Here with Tim Tszyu, it's the same thing. You have that major cut that happened, and he's conscious of it in every fight that he's been in since. The Murtazaliev fight, even in the Joey Spencer fight, you could see those signs that he was kind of cautious about, having a punch land at the top of his head or whatever it was. So here in this rematch, it's like, he really was affected by a lot of those shots upstairs there. So, hey, I don't blame them to have him not continue that fight because, yeah, you got more and more of those rounds and you can't get within range of Sebastian Fundora, and he's just tagging you and tagging you and tagging you. It's either corner's going to stop it or Dave Chappelle or, Harvey Dock is going to stop it because you seen, like, as you said, you ain't really landing significant shots enough to turn the tide back in your favor. So, hey, it is what it is.
And it's about time Fundora starts using the thing that's going to take him far in this sport, which is his height. That's the thing that makes you abnormal, that makes you different than all the other people. And the fight was so much easier for him yesterday because essentially he decided to use that, walking him into shots. And then the one round or 1 or 2 rounds where he decided not to use it and impress him is where he gave Tszyu opportunities to hit him. And Tszyu hit him with 2 or 3 or 4 shots. And like Tszyu looked at him and was like, dang, it's sort of like how Deontay Wilder, when he hit what's the name and he got up, and you could see Wilder like mentally, how you relax, like your adrenaline is going and then you relax. It's like that sort of thing. And then once he hit him with that and he gave him opportunity and he didn't go nowhere, the fight was over with then. Mentally, the fight was over for him, even though it was already over physically.
Yeah, word. So, yeah, you talk about that thing there with Deontay Wilder and that knockdown that happened in the 12th round, and he, really thought that was it. It was over. And then when he seen, Tyson Fury get up, it, kind of like changed it. And he's like, it's almost like he said, hey man, I thought I had him. Like what happened here? You know what I'm saying? So shout out Jack Reese. But but you still had that instance where it's like if you seem like or you feel like you've done everything you had to do in order to really affect your opponent and he's still right in front of you, then yeah, that can mentally break you. And here with Tim Tszyu, he seemed like he landed a couple of good shots during the fight, and Fundora was still right there, still throwing that jab and then following up and still throwing a jab, and he just, I guess Tim Tszyu just broke down on that front, man. But now I wanted to get to one of these topics here from this fight. Okay, so Tim Tszyu, yes, he falls short here in his bout against Sebastian Fundora for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship. But there was some certain person in boxing that shared their thoughts about a Tim Tszyu. Okay. And this is Mr. Turki LLC. Okay. And I'll see if I could share this because you have to, get screenshots because people like to, delete tweets. So here we go. We got Turki LLC here, and it says here from Turki LLC, I said to you from the beginning, Tim Tszyu does not deserve to be on a Riyadh season or Ring magazine card. He can be useful as a sparring partner for a champion in Riyadh season. Is this the same Tim Tszyu that you would have had on your card last August, headlined by Terrence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov, where Tim Tszyu would have been facing Virgil Ortiz Jr., but it was the doctors that advised against Tim Tszyu being in that particular fight card. Tim Tszyu was down to have that fight with Virgil Ortiz Jr. last August. It was his doctors that advised against it and pretty much like scratched him from being part of that card. As far as I know, I ain't heard or seen anything else where there was an instance that Tim Tszyu would have been involved in another Riyadh season card up to this point, and where Tim Tszyu would have openly declined or something like that, or maybe what is it, No Limit or something like that, who he's affiliated with over in Australia. Maybe he said that like they wouldn't be interested in having Tim Tszyu involved in the Riyadh season card. I haven't seen that. So my question is, why would Turki LLC make this type of statement if there hasn't really been any type of open rejection from Tim Tszyu or his team to be involved in any one of his cards? I didn't understand it. I thought it was out of pocket, completely out of pocket. And as Matt was saying here earlier, he definitely had a lot of thoughts here in reference to Turki LLC, especially him, making these comments. And that, okay, you're a financier. We get it, or partially a financier because you're involved with Saudi Arabia and them trying to increase, tourism towards to the country and stuff like that. So yeah, you want to bring fights over to, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or any other part of Saudi Arabia so that you can increase tourism. But you're involved in these boxing events, just like you're involved in golf, maybe, or what it was, as they say, football or soccer. But do you have these same type of comments for golfers or soccer players like you do for boxers like this? I haven't seen it. So why are you doing it here, especially in this sense with Tim Tszyu, that's definitely been in there, in the trenches, been in the ring, had these fights. And as we say, he gave it his all. That's the thing. He's giving it his all. And even though he says, hey, you know what? I tried. I couldn't do it. At least I tried. At least you could say that about Tim Tszyu. But for Turki LLC to, make these type of comments, definitely out of pocket. Yo, Matt, you there with me?
Honestly, it was classless. It was classless. And the thing about Turki LLC, he ain't never been no fighter. We've seen him throw a punch. He can't throw a punch. Who is he? Who is he to say anything like that about Tim Tszyu, man? That was classless. Imagine Al Heyman saying something like that, or even fucking Bob Arum. Like, come on, man.
Bob has said something like that, by the way.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. Bob will tell you a fighter is boring to watch.
This
True.
guy,
That's a difference. That's a difference.
Guillermo Rigondeaux, I don't understand it. He is just a boring fighter. Look at him. You saw what happened there, against Nonito Donaire. I didn't understand it. It looked like he was running around the ring, but yet they gave him 55 rounds. Or something, man. I don't know, man. But yeah, you don't really see that from Bob Arum as far as like openly criticizing a fighter like this in reference to like saying no, you don't belong in this. Now there may be some things behind the scenes, but that's on a completely different that's on a completely different thing. Shout out to Champion on one of those examples. But yeah, like Turki Al-Sheikh saying this is completely out of pocket. Like, and it's a habit there from Turki Al-Sheikh because he'll make those comments like the whole thing with that Tom and Jerry type of fights and like other comments and all this. Like, you can't have that in the sport of boxing just because you're making fights or you're putting fight cards together and that gives you the liberty to say anything you want about any of these boxers. Nah, that ain't quite how it works there. So yeah, he gotta calm down with all that. You feel me? You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the thing I had in reference to the Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora fight. You had Isaac Cruz there against a replacement opponent there in Omar Salcido, and he wins by unanimous decision, and it's for the WBC interim super lightweight title. Yeah, I guess they try to see if they could put Isaac Cruz in a good matchup later on down the line. I know he was looking forward to fighting Isaac Fierro again. I was looking forward to that fight, but Isaac Fierro was like 150 pounds or something, man. Fight week, man. I don't even know why the dude showed up for fight week, man. If he was that much overweight or whatever, man, you might as well just say, you know what? I can't do it. I'm good. You could find a replacement opponent. They could have started at like Tuesday or something. You know what I mean? But hey, still had Omar Salcido in there. He was part of the card initially, so they just moved him up in the slot to face Isaac Cruz. And Isaac Cruz, to be honest, it almost seemed like he regressed a little bit from his fight on February 1st against Isaac Fierro. Like in that fight, February 1st, I was like, Isaac Cruz was doing a couple of things I saw there, and I didn't really expect from Isaac Cruz. Like I thought that at that time he was growing as a fighter, being more complete of a fighter. But going up against Omar Salcido with only like a few days to get ready, yeah, he almost won every single round. And he scored at he scored like a close to a knockdown in the last round or whatever it is. But after about 6 or 7 rounds, and this goes to Matt because he had like a conversation earlier about this fight, and somebody we know initially was watching the fight and then skipped a few rounds because he didn't see much. He didn't expect much from it. But yeah, to me, this almost was like Isaac Cruz when he had his fight against Giovanni Cabrera, man. It looked like him, not necessarily clean, like being as clean, I would say, in his approach and his attack. You would think, being a small guy, being compact, that you could try to, work and break down your opponent, just like another fighter that, had a fight here over in Texas. But the Isaac Cruz, I didn't quite see that for most of those rounds, even though he won just about every round. And if he's going to be like competing there in the super lightweight division and against a number of those guys, I don't know if he would have a clear or a good path to victory, but given his name, given his following, he like all of those matchups there at 140 pounds around the top of 140, hey, a lot of fight fans will be interested in those, right? So whether it's like a Subriel Matias, Alberto Puello, a Gary Antoine Russell, a Teofimo Lopez, or whatever, yeah, people will be interested in those fights. But can Isak Cruz do what it takes in order to beat those guys? I don't know. Matt, what were your thoughts on Isak Cruz and his performance?
I thought it was a good performance. Very short notice. He did what he had to do. And he finished strong, which he didn't finish strong in his last fight. So I was happy with that, which means that his stamina is better, which means that he's probably working harder. Maybe the weight cut wasn't as bad this time. So I can't wait to see. I think he should come back soon because he ain't taking no punishment. He should come back soon.
Now, if they have a card in November, like the one that we suggested earlier, maybe in Houston or something in December, then hey, we could see Isak Cruz there back, and hey, why not? I mean, that would be his third fight this year, and a lot of fight fans are saying that a number of these fighters should fight at least 3 times a year. Now, I mean, you don't necessarily have the dates for it in a lot of cases, but I mean, it is what it is. But with Isak Cruz, it's not like he's asking for a lot of money, so to speak, right? You know what I mean? So you could still, have him in these bouts. It's not like he's a headliner, you know what I mean? So you could have him as either a co-feature or, part of another card that could be in Las Vegas, maybe, you know what I mean? So you could fit him with that. And, I did have those suggestions of, maybe he could potentially face a fighter like a Subriel Matias or maybe Alberto Puello if, they handle that situation between Puello and Dalton Smith. But you also had that suggestion about Puello fighting Gary Antoine Russell in the unification. I mean, Subriel Matias, excuse me.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
So I probably have an unpopular opinion about Pitbull Cruz.
All right, ahead.
I don't think the fights that he have like yesterday, which to me essentially equates to the first couple rounds might be semi-exciting, okay. And then after that, you get in around 3 to round like 10, 12. He throws the big hook, and then the dude gets out the way, and then that same sort of action continues repeating itself. Where he throw the big shot, the person move, and it's a little like wow, sort of not like Sean Porter, but it's like it's the same like repetitive. It's almost like paint drying in a sense. It's like just this repetitive sort of action where he'll do a leaping hook or something, and then the person get out the way, and then they might tangle up. And literally, that's to me what I always see. And then, like I don't know, I start like dreaming about M&Ms or some shit. I don't know. Like I start thinking about M&Ms like during the fight or something, like anything, like because it's such a repetitive sort of thing. And so the only way I think for me that I really would want to see him, I don't think those fights do. I don't think those type of fights add to the card. I think they take away from it. And the only way that I would really want to see him is if he fight those big names, because the only way his fights to me turn out to be exciting, not the only way, typically the way that it turns out to be exciting is if he has a dance partner that makes it exciting. So Puello would make it exciting. Puello is the goods. Puello would make the fight exciting, would catch him in between shots, might get caught with some. The fight would be exciting because of Puello, not to me because of Pitbull. Matias, it would probably be exciting because Matias can get hit at times. But him fighting these guys, they need to stop that because it to me it takes away from the card. Like we need to see him against people that are going to make a fight out of it, because otherwise, yeah, it's detrimental to the card. Like it probably make people not want to watch the fight, like watch boxing by seeing that.
It'll be like as I mentioned there with that Giovanni Cabrera matchup. it was the same thing. The only thing was with Isaac Cruz, he kind of like got a little bit frustrated and started to try to headbutt Cabrera and all that type of stuff. But yeah, unless if it's guys like a Puello or I said a Matias is now new champion there for WBC. Gary Antoine Russell, Teofimo Lopez, maybe then I don't know what you could kind of like make for it. So I want to see if they could find a way for Isaac Cruz to get a fight with one of those guys. If you're going to have him be the WBC interim champion there for the super lightweight division, then, hey, if he can't get Matias, then just have something with the WBC, work it out where, okay, Isaac Cruz could fight like an Alberto Puello, and then the winner would face, say, for example, Subriel Matias versus Dalton Smith, if they're going to have that fight on November 22nd for Ring 4, then just have those winners go up against each other in 2026. So that's the thing with that, man. And of course,
at least
go ahead.
At least if you don't put him in with those top guys, don't let him take a spot on a pay-per-view where people got to pay, and then that's what they get after they pay money to watch him. Like, I'm not saying that he tries, like, you got to give him that. He gives his all, but like, to me, it's almost like the Shakur fight where Shakur wasn't staying in the pocket. Shakur did his thing the last fight, but that's almost like the other fight where it was like 12:30 at night and Shakur was like moving and wasn't really, like firing back per se. It was kind of synonymous to that to me.
Yeah, I thought like the Shakur fight against Williams Zepeda, I thought he did very well.
Well, not
for the fight.
Not the Zepeda, like he did his thing. Like, I take my hat off. I mean the other one where it was 12:30 at night.
Yeah, De Los Santos fight.
De Los Santos, to me, that fight equates to the De Los Santos Shakur fight, the fight that what's his name had yesterday. Those two are synonymous to me.
Now, now I think the thing with Isaac Cruz is he may need that right opponent, so to speak. Like we said with Fierro in their first fight in February, that was the right opponent for Isaac Cruz because he's right there. He's willing to scrap with him, you know what I mean? And it makes for a great fight. Like someone like a Subriel Matias with a solid Subriel Matias, that could make for, a great fight. You know what I mean? Alberto Puello, how is he going to be able to react to Isaac Cruz's pressure? That would be something that's interesting. But a guy like Omar Salcido, who really didn't look like he wanted to engage that much there in this bout, I mean, that ain't gonna, be good unless if it's, as they say in wrestling, like a squash match of sorts, where you could have had Isaac Cruz just beat him up and end up getting a stoppage victory or knock him out, but we didn't necessarily see that. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about with this fight card before we get into the next topic, right? Of course, we had the return of the former WBC featherweight champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. He was there. He was back after an extended layoff there of over 3 years. He had to take care of a lot of things there with the family and stuff like that. And, with the injury to his shoulder. Now he was able to get back in the ring against Hugo Castaneda. And my goodness, it almost seemed like, well, they say like he never left. But you've seen the speed. You've seen the reflexes. I think it was more about the reflexes for me because, of course, I've been out there in the gym. I've seen him, working out and that type of stuff and whatever. But it was for me about the reflexes as far as like being able to step back, step out of range, being able to dodge punches, slip and counter, all that type of stuff. And then, you had that one instance where he was in the corner and there and Castaneda like had him in the corner and Castaneda was like throwing, but Gary Russell Jr. was slipping, pop, slip, pop, slip, pop, pop. You know what I mean? And those two knockdowns that basically happened early, he was just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just getting them. And then 10th round, just having that body shot, and y'all know body shot knockouts, man. It's like, ooh. And he got to there. It was like, It was like, it was a wrap. So he got the knockout victory there in the 10th round. and they basically did what they were planning to do. What I'm gonna say is that once they had this fight locked in, they wanted Gary Russell Jr. to get some rounds. They didn't really want Gary Russell Jr. to have an early night. So when you seen that early knockdown, they're like, you know what? Yeah, we could end it now, but we need to get rounds in. And so that's exactly what they did. And they got rounds in, and he was able to, finish it and get the knockout victory, because it was like after round 5 or whatever it is, they could have ended it whenever he wanted to. So good on his part. We're going to see if we could follow up with Gary Russell Jr. here. I wouldn't necessarily say this week maybe, but probably next week. And then see what's next up for Gary Russell Jr., because he does have some big plans around the 135-pound division. We shall see. And I know Matt has kind of followed a few things here and there that's happened between Mr. Gary Russell Jr. and another fighter that is within the Washington, D.C. area. And so, hey, if we know that there isn't much word about a fight that's supposed to happen in August, be on the lookout. We might see something here later this year with a internal battle within the Washington, D.C. area. So there you go with that, man. Matt, what were you looking at for Gary Russell Jr. in his return bout?
I thought he looked great. He could do whatever he wanted in that fight, and he did whatever he wanted in that fight. I thought he could have stopped at any time, but he decided to get some work in. And then when it was time to go home, he sent them home happy with that body shot. That body shot was crazy, man. That was a man, oh man, oh man. So he looked great. But what I really wanted to talk about, I don't know if you saw the video yet, but yesterday at the fight, in the crowd, Subriel Matias slapped the shit out of Teofimo Lopez.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
Like, for no reason, or like because he was talking shit or something?
Do you need a reason to slap Teofimo Lopez?
I mean, he's probably talking shit, but yeah.
Matt, is like Teofimo Lopez just has the look of slapping him. Oh, man, come on, Matt. Don't do that. Oh,
that
man.
Was great. Great work, man. Great work.
Listen, hey, we know that there could have been a shot for Subriel Matias and Teofimo Lopez to fight this year, but Teofimo Lopez declined. Now you got Subriel Matias as the WBC champion at 140 pounds. You have Teofimo Lopez as the WBO and lineal champion at 140 pounds. So that is another potential matchup for a unification bout. So, hey, listen, make it happen. I don't care, man. Make it happen. If Teofimo Lopez, if Richard Hitchens ain't gonna fight in a unification, then shoot, why not just have Teofimo against Subriel Matias or Gary Antoine Russell? And yeah, exactly. Make that fight yesterday, man. Like, come on, we need to make things shake, man. Let's get some action with this. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, come on, y'all. But yeah, that was the whole thing there with I say most of the card over at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. That was a good.
You don't want my opinion? You don't want my opinion?
With that part?
You don't want my opinion?
Go ahead. I ain't know you wanted to chime in on that one.
Yeah, man. These are some of the small guys I do watch. And Gary Russell Jr. looked like a grown man who, you know how when somebody be like 35, 40 or something, and then they little younger kid who like 15 or something try them, and then they still fast enough and strong enough to like show them like I'm the goods. And so that's essentially not necessarily what I saw yesterday, but yeah, he looked really good. You know, he looked fast, he looked strong, he looked like a grown man. And it would be definitely interesting to see, to see him in certain matchups. And it'd be interesting to see like how the shots that he was throwing, which obviously his power come from the speed at which he throw the shots, and how that would sort of affect some of the better guys. he ain't really get hit much yesterday. But like shit, like with him seeing all them shots and being able to get away and do all that, would he be able to do that against the better guys? Because he literally saw everything. You could see him seeing everything. Like he was matrixing that shit. He was like, you know, literally eyes wide open and seeing everything and getting out the way, counter him in between shots. It was almost kind of like a masterclass.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
You know, as I was mentioning with that that instance where he was in the corner and he like invited Castaneda in, and Castaneda was throwing punches, and he was just, you know, slipping, boom, slip, boom, boom, slip, boom, 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 you know, and after all of that, and then getting out of the corner, you seen like the crowd there was like, yeah, they were like, you know, really cheering and all that stuff. Like, yeah, man, that's the thing. You know, they would love to see Gary Russell Jr. in action. It's just that he isn't necessarily in action that much. But now, you know, my thing is seeing if he had everything good, his shoulders good, and all that type of stuff. If he has that, and that's, you know, close to 100%, as he mentioned, you know, with myself and Brother Matt, that he feels like it's never going to be back to 100%. But at least it would be at a good enough, you know, condition to where he would be able to actively compete against those guys that are at or near the top of the division that he's going to be in here at this point. So we definitely looking forward to that. Shout out to the topic here, where he says in reference to Teofimo Lopez, you don't see any big fights happening for Teofimo Lopez unless if he's on the Ring Magazine payroll. So I guess you say that, hey, if it's going to be somebody as I have in the theme for today being built out for Teo, I guess it would be under Ring Magazine. So yeah, they said Teo don't have a promoter now. Hey, I wish I could have the time to talk about the thing there with Top Rank, but yeah, I'll keep that for later. All right, so want to get to the next thing here. This time over in Wembley Stadium, you had the undisputed heavyweight championship on the line. Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dynamite Dubois. Dynamite Dubois coming in there with the IBF belt, but you know, he was, you know, basically given the belt because he was IBF Mando and, you know, that whole stuff with the IBF. They be IBF. Oleksandr Usyk, of course, coming off of his 2 wins last year against Tyson Fury, at the time being the undisputed heavyweight champion. This is a rematch. We all know about what happened in their first bout. Shout out Luis Pabon. But then, you know, Oleksandr Usyk just, you know, picked apart Daniel Dubois and broke him down for, what was that, like what, a 9th round TKO win or something like that. So now here with this rematch, Daniel Dubois coming off of his 3 wins since that loss there against Jarrell Big Baby Miller, against Philip Hergovich, against Anthony Joshua, all by knockout. So his confidence is through the roof. Hey, yes, I'm ready. Let's go. And the new, I'm good. Yes, let's go. Against Oleksandr Usyk, of course, Usyk being Usyk, just, you know, stoic and all that. So just approach this fight stoic. And then the fight came up there, Wembley Stadium, you know, the crowd over 85,000 plus or whatever it is. And then, you know, we had the fight. And listen, man, once Oleksandr Usyk kind of landed an up jab of sorts where he was like down a little bit low and threw the right jab up towards Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois' head snapped back. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I didn't think it would be this bad though, because it was like Oleksandr Usyk. It's like Oleksandr Usyk wasn't like what 37 or whatever it was. It was almost like Oleksandr Usyk was like 27-28 going up against Daniel Dubois, and he was beating him to the punch. He was just snapping a jab and just beating Dubois to the punch, and Dubois was just like almost like 2 or 3 steps slower, throwing a lot of the punches. And a number of times he didn't throw the right hand. At least I didn't feel like he threw the right hand when he should have, because initially going into the bout, I thought Dubois would have to throw caution to win and have to take a couple of punches in order to land power shots of his own. But a lot of times it looked like a number of his punches were, as they say, telegraphed, that Usyk can see those punches coming, block them, parry, shift, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, first 60 seconds that Dubois, man, that was getting beat. Yeah, I'm telling you. I saw them jabs, by Usyk. I was like, oh man, this ain't good. This is not gonna be good. And it was almost like a whole, whole new thing, man. And so you seen Usyk just get to Daniel Dubois for the majority of the fight, and then you had just one moment where Daniel Dubois thought that he had Oleksandr Usyk, had him with his back to the ropes, and then Oleksandr Usyk just caught him with almost like a 1-2, and with a right hand that like went, on the back of Dubois' head to put him down to the canvas. And I mean, props to Dubois, he got up. But after he got up, he tried to swing for the fences. He tried to go all out. He tried to go out on a shield and try to see if he could get back into it. But Usyk was just patient, stayed within his, his stance or whatever it is. And when Daniel Dubois threw, I think it was, he threw a right hand and he reached out with a right hand, and Usyk just leaned back and then came back up and then just went in with the left hook and just sent Daniel Dubois' mouthpiece about 15 rows down Wembley Stadium. I was like, oh my God, he clocked him, dog. I'm telling you, it was so bad. If it wasn't for Brian Norman Jr. sending Jen Sasaki straight to hell, this would have easily been the knockout of the year. Because, God damn, he knocked his. I don't know, man. Hey, I think a couple of Daniel Dubois' teeth was out there with that mouthpiece. Because goodness, man, I'm telling you, man. It was bad, man. It said that Secret Dance Move blames Dubois' trainer, Don Charles, and his father. What was their game plan? Listen, I don't know.
Let me get into mine because he said exactly what I was gonna say. Let's put up his other comment because he's saying my sentiments, and I'm gonna repeat what he said and then take credit because I was gonna say it
this
anyway.
One this one or the one I just put up.
This one, so both of them. So he's saying I've been super angry since the fight ended, angry at Dubois' team.
Yeah.
The thing is, as a heavyweight fighter in this era, you don't get a lot of opportunities to fight for a title, let alone undisputed. You don't get many of these opportunities. You fought this guy one time before. You see what kind of monster he was then. You essentially quit in that fight. But since then, you've shown us something different. You've gotten the good pulls of these fights. You essentially knocked a few guys out, and you fought above what people expected you to fight, and you showed your heart. You get the opportunity of a lifetime to come back and win undisputed against arguably a guy who's going to go down as one of the best heavyweights ever. He's going to go down as one of the best heavyweights ever. And you come into the fight, the thing that made you successful in the last fight, and the reason why you got this fight outside of you knocking 3 people out, is your body shot. And that's what sort of floated this fight that led to controversy in the first fight. And you telling me out of 8-9 rounds, you only threw at the number of body shots he threw can fit on one hand. He probably didn't throw 5 body shots. Right. And the 2 or 3 body shots he threw, every time Usyk would just stop and they would just stare each other in the eyes because it would have some mental and probably physical effect on Usyk. And you telling me in your game plan, you don't game plan to throw body shots. And your game plan is to come in there and essentially out gunsling this motherfucker. And at one point, I feel like he was trying to outbox him too. Like,
yeah.
I cannot believe the opportunity that was in front of them, and they did not incorporate the thing, Usyk's Achilles heel. They did not incorporate it at all. The 5 body shots that he threw, he just threw them because that was the only punch that probably was there for him. He didn't throw no damn body shots. Like, and as a result, that's what you get. You get your ass knocked out for that whack ass game plan. You get knocked out for squandering this opportunity. You get knocked out for not going with a coherent game plan. I don't know if the coach is the same coach that he been fighting with, or if it's new, but you cannot tell me that they went in this fight and didn't have a game plan that included going to Usyk's body. And you thinking that you can win a different type of way without going to his body? He's better than you at everything. And the only equalizer you got is by hitting him in his body and making him human. And you don't do it. And you try to gunsling him, you try to outbox him, and you get knocked out. That's what you get for squandering this opportunity. You deserve all the credit you get. We can't take away. You got hard. Okay, what to do? But y'all squandered the opportunity, and you get what you get.
And there it is on that, man. What is it? Secret dance move here. He said that Dubois' quarter was in shambles. Too many people telling them what to do. And shout out to 2 cents here. 2 cents. Dubois changed the way they threw the right hand, and Usyk picked up the movement, right? And Usyk fought a great fight. But this goes, to what Boxing Academic was saying, and as far as like his rant. You have this opportunity to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And for me, I was saying going into this fight, Dubois had like all the confidence in the world. But the other thing with Daniel Dubois was, it was like whatever his opponent was saying to him or the actions towards him, it would kind of go, it looked like it would go past his mind, so to speak. All right. So here you are against Oleksandr Usyk. It's your second opportunity to defeat Oleksandr Usyk. You're in the biggest stage of your career in this sense that is for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. However, your last fight was in this same arena in Wembley Stadium against who was the biggest star in the UK, and you dethroned them by knockout. You didn't think about what was going on, how big the fight was, what the venue was, Wembley Stadium, or nothing like that. You were like, okay, yes, let's go. Yeah, let's do it. Let's fight. Yet you look like you approached this fight completely different, in that it almost seemed like, as I mentioned, once you got hit with that jab in the first round, it was almost like, which one of y'all hit me? Like, come on, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, and Don Charles, or your father there in your corner, I don't know what they were talking about in your corner, but to only have 8 landed punches to the body, according to CompuBox punch stats, on Oleksandr Usyk is absolutely insane. And as Boxing Academic was mentioning, it almost looked like you were trying to box with Oleksandr Usyk instead of trying to go all out, balls to the wall. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. If he lands a couple jabs here and there, screw it. I'm going to throw the right hand. Listen, I'm going to hit him. I don't care where I hit him. I'm going to hit him. And Dubois didn't even have that. You know what I mean? It was just absolutely insane. And shout out to Secret Dance Move here. He says, Dubois is lunging in with the punches, yes, and overcommitting. Can't do that with a fast counterpuncher, a fast and precise counterpuncher in Oleksandr Usyk. And you've seen what happened, as I described, after he got up from the first knockdown. He overcommit with the right hand, lunged, missed. Usyk came back, threw that sharp left hook. Good night, Irene. He was done. It was
Usyk was licking his chops with him throwing them overcommitting shots. He was he was waiting for it, licking his chops.
Listen, and you know, the whole thing with the body too, right? It was almost like that could have been in the mind of Daniel Dubois. Because there were like very few attempts to throw to the body. And there was like one
You saying it could not have been in his mind, right?
No, well, no. Like as far as like him being reluctant to throw to the body after what happened in the first fight because of the lack of attempts. And then when he did throw and land, there was one instance where he landed and it landed on Usyk's leg, and Usyk like kind of like signaled towards it, even though the ref was like completely behind both of them. But I just felt like that could have been in the mind there of Daniel Dubois because he really didn't, go to the body like that. And yeah, like he said, also Dubois was gassed by the fourth round. Where was that stamina he showed against Hrgovic and Miller? I don't know, because they're talking about, in the public workout, he looks like he's up and down, he's bouncing up and down with his legs, he looks a little bit lighter or whatever it is in this fight, and I'm like, that didn't even matter, man. It didn't even matter. Like, and yeah, he weighed in at like 243, a little bit lighter than he fought in his fight against Anthony Joshua, but that didn't even matter, man. It didn't matter. Like, whatever type of approach or game plan or whatever it is, like, I don't know. Listen, I might have to figure out if I could find somebody to tell me from Don Charles or Daniel Dubois what were they thinking approaching this particular fight against Oleksandr Usyk, because I just don't know, man. My guy Matt, man, I know you saw it. It was barbecue for you.
I got nothing for you.
You got nothing. Listen, yeah, it was barbecue chicken, man. It was barbecue chicken. That's what it was. Barbecue chicken. I know, as Matt says, it was a heavyweight world title fight, and it's, as they say, two big men bumping meat. Pause. But still, that was just absolutely embarrassing. That was embarrassing to see. That, like, I don't remember a fight of that caliber where, in the heavyweight division, that is, where a fighter that comes in as a world champion gets absolutely dominated, like Daniel Dubois got dominated in that fight. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. I mean, so
and we're not knocking Dubois' effort. We're knocking their strategy. Like, fighting a championship fight ain't just about your effort. It's about how you strategically plan on winning the fight. With that strategy, I'm not sure how they could have believed they was going to win the fight with that strategy. Like, you think you're going to knock him out and catch him like you did Joshua? Somebody who don't move their head? Like, oh my gosh. It almost kind of makes you like Secret Dance move. It makes you mad at them. No strategy, which is what separates the great people. They have the effort and they have the strategy. They just look like they just went in there and said, we just gonna go in there and we gonna out something, but whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, zero strategy. Listen, in fights of that magnitude, and if they're like close fights or whatever it is between two combatants, you could have an initial strategy, you could have a plan A, but you also could have like a plan B or plan C or something. In this fight, it looked like Daniel Dubois didn't even have a plan A. Like it was nothing. I just couldn't process what was going on there in that particular fight. It was
I think strategically you guys are looking at it all wrong.
Okay.
It wasn't about Dubois' strategy. It was about the change in Usyk's strategy. Usyk, from the outset, seemed to want to sit down on his punches and wait for a hard counter and trade with Dubois. maybe Usyk said this guy really can't hurt me like he think he can, and Usyk decided to hold his feet more than he normally does at the beginning of a fight. Like this wasn't like Usyk fought as if he wasn't planning on going the distance. Usyk fought like he was the bigger man, and I think that Dubois' team did not anticipate that. They anticipated having to chase him down, and Usyk made himself not hard to find.
Usyk fought like he shouldn't have been in the ring with him, which is true. Usyk, from his body language, said, this guy should not be. I cannot believe y'all are making this bigger than what it is. This guy should not be in the ring with me. And like you said, he held his punches. He did everything to show us he shouldn't have been in the ring with him. I got your point. I understand it. Hey, my bad for thinking that Dubois was going to do something more. My bad, Usyk. You're right. He shouldn't have been in the ring.
Listen, I picked Usyk to get a TKO victory, but at least it would be by like round 8 or 9. I didn't expect this dominance. But to Matt's point, yeah, I think that Usyk was really confident that Dubois really didn't have much for him, and that he would be willing to stand, pretty much stand stationary in a lot of cases. And of course, with it being Usyk, of course he's going to be disciplined in defense. So even if he, like, say, for example, if he just initially goes with the right jab and just keeps throwing with the right jab, he's still going to be disciplined enough to keep his left hand up so that if Dubois does throw that right hand, he's going to be able to catch it or block it or slip it and still be able to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the first knockdown sequence, Dubois got knocked down after hitting Usyk with a clean right hand.
With a clean right, yeah.
Like he just didn't have anything for
him. He didn't. Boxing Academic knows when they showed that replay, I was laughing my ass off because it was like Usyk baited him. I was
maybe Usyk has a generational chin.
He could.
I don't know about all that, but what's the name shouldn't have been in the ring with him. That's what I do know, and he showed us that yesterday.
Oh man, that was just bad, man. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, the replay of that second knockdown, I'm telling you, oof, he about like I be saying, Usyk knocked the sonic rings out of Daniel Dubois with that left hook. I was, god damn.
Hey, he was on the ground picking them motherfuckers up too, boy.
Yeah,
he was on the ground bending over picking them motherfuckers up.
Yeah, he picking all the rings
oh shit, all my rings out. Oh, I gotta pick them up.
God damn, boy.
You gotta tell somebody to do a meme of that. Whether he gotta pick up the rings and stuff.
Yeah. I gotta find something. I'm gonna find it out. I'm gonna find it, man. Because he got clocked with that joint, man. And I'm telling you, props to Usyk becoming an undisputed heavyweight champion once again. And now the discussion starts about him and his standing in the heavyweight division. Overall, he's only had 24 professional bouts, and only from his bout against Chaz Witherspoon in 2019 up to now, he has been in the heavyweight division. But given that he's defeated top 5 fighters multiple times there, and of course he's had the 2 fights with Joshua, 2 fights with Fury, and 2 fights with Dubois. Pretty much that's been his last 6 fights. And him being able to get these wins over these guys, it makes him be in the discussion around that top 10, top 15 heavyweights of all time. Now some people may have a top 5 that may be universal or whatever it is. But is it with Usyk that he doesn't have enough fights in the heavyweight division to be in the discussion? Or is it because of the magnitude of the wins that he does have that puts him in this particular discussion?
Magnitude?
But that's the thing about it. That's what some people kind of bring up. But I said, when you have the wins over Tyson Fury, You have the wins over Anthony Joshua. You have the wins over Daniel Dubois, particularly with the second one. He's had wins over guys that are definitely within the top 10 of the heavyweight division. And with Fury and Joshua, they were in the top 5 for sure. And with Daniel Dubois this time, he would be within the top 5. So
are these all-time guys?
All time. That's the thing about it. Where do people measure these particular fighters all time in the heavyweight division? And the other thing with like, for example, with Fury and with Joshua, would they be under consideration for, at the very least, being mentioned in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know about Joshua, but possibly Fury.
Why Fury and not Joshua?
Because Fury has beaten someone who may make the Hall of Fame. Joshua hasn't.
I mean, you could, make that case there, so that could be something there.
Like, what's Joshua's best win?
Let's go.
Hall of Famer.
Damn, or for a 2-year layoff?
Yeah, I mean, he was at the end of his career, but
wasn't Klitschko supposed to have a rematch with Tyson Fury?
No, he was off for 2 years.
Hey, you see what Gary Russell Jr. did after 3.5 years, baby. Oh man. And I said, all right, if he could add Joseph Parker to end his career, that's top 10 resume there. Yeah, I think, the only fight left for Oleksandr Usyk at this point, to me, is Joseph Parker.
He need to fight Deontay Wilder, even though Deontay Wilder is diminished. Because Deontay Wilder is the only name
from that era,
that he hadn't beat. I get it. It'll be a Pyrrhic victory, but if he beats every top heavyweight, which those would be the top 3, I get it. Wilder ain't the top heavyweight no more. But if you get Wilder name, you get to say, I beat all of the guys who everybody thought were the best heavyweights. That then puts him in the conversation. I get it. Joseph Parker, in terms of legitimacy, now in terms of like real heavyweight legitimacy, but Joseph Parker name ain't gonna mean much in the annals of history. It's not gonna mean much. I think Wilder name would mean much more in history. Like once everybody forget about this, Wilder name gonna mean much more.
Here's a crazy thought. Why don't he fight both of them?
Yeah, exactly. He the one talking about he only got one more fight. I think he should fight both of them.
I think he should too, but it's like, which one are they going to have him fight first is the question. You know what I mean? I don't know if the WBO would kind of like allow Usyk to have a one-off before facing a Joseph Parker, but that would be my thing as far as like if Deontay Wilder could face Oleksandr Usyk, is if they say, hey, let's put this fight with Parker all to the side for a little bit, and then have the fight between Usyk and Deontay Wilder. But just remains to be seen on that front, man. So that's what I had, man. I really didn't want to talk much about the rest of that undercard because there's no purpose for that. Real quick shout out for someone that was actually at Wembley Stadium that was there in attendance there and was able to get me some content there from being at the fights over at Wembley Stadium there. So you'll be able to you'll see it in the stories or on Instagram there with some highlights from that fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dynamite Dubois. Now, wanted to get into the other fight card. Busy weekend. And it's crazy to have all of these fights all in one weekend. You had this here at the Star, Frisco, Texas. Unification fight, Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Phumelela Cafu, with Jesse Rodriguez getting a 10th round TKO victory to become the WBC and WBO super flyweight champion.
Who cares? Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't know you could hear me. My bad.
Hey, listen, man.
That
It's
card
Ben
was ass,
Rodriguez.
by the way.
Was
That
that?
card was ass.
Oh, listen. It was so bad that people there at the start of Frisco, yeah, there wasn't really that many people there for that joint, man. I mean, shout out to Trill, shout out to Lefty and them, shout out to Bang. Fight words with Bang. They were out there, but outside of them, there weren't that many people out there. Just be real with y'all. Okay. Ben Rodriguez, they got something else scheduled for him for November 22nd against Fernando Martinez, another unification bout. Ben Rodriguez, is he in the discussion for top 5 pound for pound right now? Now, Boxing Source pound for pound rankings will be updated by tomorrow. But as of right now, we do have Jesse Bam Rodriguez there among that top pound for pound rankings. You know what I mean? And it's right now I got it at number 5 with Jesse Bam Rodriguez. And after this weekend, yeah, it may change here a little bit, given at least one fighter being above him in the rankings right now. So
I mean, you're entitled to be wrong.
What's that?
I said you're entitled to be wrong. It's okay.
Where do you have Bam Rodriguez in the brunch boxing pound for pound ranking?
Maybe like in the 8 to 10 range.
And that is mainly because a number of the fighters that I have a step below Bam Rodriguez are likely above Bam Rodriguez in the brunch boxing top 10 pound for pound. Now, I have currently, right, up to 12 on the list on the boxingsource.net. 12 people in the pound for pound list. It's going to be expanded in the new pound for pound list. I'm going to have at least 14 that'll be there on the list. Maybe up to 16. Who knows? But as of right now, Bam Rodriguez, his talent level, his ability to finish fights, his ability to make adjustments, I got him right now in the top 5. Yeah, so a number of those guys that you may have above them, I just don't like account or put them above a Bam Rodriguez at this current juncture. So
I'm treating Bam the same way I treated Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. I'm gonna cluster Bam and Junto together until they fight each other.
And you know that Bam and Junto ain't gonna fight each other.
All right, well, they'll be clustered together in the back half of the top 10.
Okay. So if Bam Rodriguez has his fight against Puma and Junto Nakatani has maybe another unification fight before the supposed super fight.
Nah, he's fighting Ramon Cardenas,
Oh,
supposedly.
he's gonna fight Ramon Cardenas. Oh, okay. So Cardenas getting another good shot here, man. Props to Ramon Cardenas. He had the great performance there against Nayo Inoue. You know what I mean? So that gives him another, good opportunity to be in a high profile fight. So shout out to him. You know what I mean? But hey, listen, once they have that super fight, then we'll see if Bam Rodriguez is going to be, undisputed at super flyweight. But then by the time he does that, like I said, man, Junto will probably already be moved up to, 122. So you'll have Bam Rodriguez going up to 118, and then what's going to be out there for him at 118? Right, nothing. So hey, here's what it is. But as of right now, at least as of today, Bam Rodriguez is number 5 in the Boxing Source pound for pound top 10 rankings there. It said Secret Dance, who says Bam Rodriguez needs a big fight He's very good, but his level of competition is just not good enough.
Thank you.
Right now. Okay. Who were those fighters that he faced on their retirement tour, going out tour? You know, like the Juan Francisco Estradas, the Suzuki Sora Rangavasas, the Carlos Cuadrases, you know, all of those guys that were out there in the super flyweight division when all those three guys with Chocolatito were fighting each other. And, you know, Ben Rodriguez was fighting them on the back end of their careers. You know what I mean? But listen, I don't know. If they don't have an opportunity for like a Ben Rodriguez to fight a guy that is of a high caliber as of yet, then you know what? He'll probably be around that same spot for a good little while, man. But after, you know, this weekend and the stuff that's happened this weekend, you're not really going to see much changing here with these pound for pound rankings until maybe September 14th, of course. So, you know, that's what I got there on that front, man. Academic, you got anything on Ben Rodriguez?
Oh, now you want to ask me my opinion on fights that the third best card of the night. Now you want to ask my opinion on the card that you know I ain't watch. And the only reason why Matt can't say nothing because he ain't watch it.
Oh, I know he didn't watch it. He was watching the big events. Okay, he
only watch big events.
Big events. Okay, that's it. That's all he watches.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Before you mentioned it last night, I wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
man.
Forgot it was happening.
I mean, it's hard to know that something happening when it's two other fight cards that mean a lot more for boxing.
Listen,
Manny Pacquiao was fighting.
It was, but I mean, like with that, right? Like by the time Usyk and Dubois was over, the whole joint with the MGM card on Amazon Prime, just regular Amazon Prime or on YouTube, that was starting. So by the time Usyk Dubois was over, Mark McSire was fighting. You know what I mean? So it was like once that was going on, I'm like, wait, oh yeah, Omari Jones fighting, Emma Williams fighting, Diego Pacheco fighting Trevor McCumbee. Oh, damn.
And Pacheco versus McCumbee was one of the worst fights of the year, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's why I give, shout out to, as I mentioned there, Lefty or Trill, Bang, those that were there at the start of Frisco for that particular fight. That was absolutely atrocious. That was bad. Nah. You know what? I'm good. I'm good on that fight. We don't need to talk about that fight. At least not here, not right now. We good on that. So, with that being said, that's pretty much the rundown here for this edition, or at least what's been going down, man, for this week, man. And we gonna be right back at it next week. We still got more fights coming up this coming weekend. Got fights in Atlanta on Friday. On Saturday, we got fights in Detroit, Michigan, and in New York City. And also, we got fights here in the DMV area too on Saturday, man. I'm telling you, man, like July has been probably the most packed schedule for boxing in a while. Like, I don't think we've had like any off weekends except for that first weekend, of course, because it's, July 4th weekend or whatever. But outside of that, we've had something every single weekend, it seems like. It's been crazy. So we do have that, man. Shout out to Clarence McLean here on the live chat, man. Salute to you here on this live. Hit the like button if you like the content here, at least for YouTube. And if you can, share on YouTube. And, we're going to have this, of course, on audio form on the thing here for Spotify as well. So we do have that. But big thanks for everyone that's been able to, chime in through the live chat. Shout out to the Boxing Academic for his analysis. Shout out to Matt from Brunch Boxing for his analysis and for his work during fight week for Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios there. So y'all be sure to check that out also with Brunch Boxing because there were like a lot of good interviews on there. particularly for me, the interview with Mauricio Solomon and the interview with Kenneth Buhari there, man. Yeah, like I said, man. So you're gonna have Clarissa Shields versus Laney Daniels over there in Detroit. You're gonna have the WBO Super Welterweight title in New York City, top ranked Xander Zayas versus Jorge Garcia Perez. It is supposed to be the last top ranked show on ESPN. Okay, so you got that. Overtime boxing, OTX 15 on Friday at the Tabernacle in Atlanta. You're gonna have, of course, Elijah Pierce there headlining against Michael Das Marinas. You're going to also have O'Shea Jones involved in that fight card. You're going to also have Haven Brady Jr. involved in that fight card. And you got Maximus Garland that's on that fight card. I had a conversation with Maximus here over at the gym in this area. So be sure to check that out on the YouTube channel. Still going to try to work on if I could get more fighters that are involved in that fight card before they had that thing going down. You know what I mean? So there you go. So that tells you like what's going down, man. It's very busy here for fight week, or these fight weeks coming up for July. So yeah. All right, yeah. Clarence McClain says, yeah, Bruce Carrington got a media workout on Tuesday for his fight. That's going to be on that top ranked card there at the theater at Madison Square Garden. So Bruce Carrington is going to be fighting for the WBC interim featherweight title there on that one there against Matthias Ojeda. I keep having trouble with that name there unless if it's right in front of me. But that tells you how much action is going down this coming weekend. Y'all be sure to check it out. That's what I have, y'all. Once again, big thanks to the Box Academic, Matt of Brunch Boxing. I'm the Boxing Source. That's it for me. I'll check y'all later. Peace out.